All right, let's take you back to our developing story, excuse me, this afternoon. The Limpopo Health Department confirming the remains of 42 people who died in the Limpopo bus crash last month have been identified with DNA testing. The department says their teams are preparing the remains of the deceased now for repatriation. The accident, as you'll remember, claimed the lives of 45 Botswana citizens who were traveling to St. Egenis Zion Christian Church for the annual Easter service when their vehicle plunged off the Mamatlakala bridge. An 8-year-old girl was the only survivor of that deadly crash. For more details, we're joined now by Limpopo's Health MEC, Dr. Phophi Ramathuba. Thank you very much indeed for giving us your time this afternoon. MEC, this has been quick work, hasn't it? Not so for the families, of course. It has been some weeks, but just in terms of the amount of work that's been able to be done insofar as the identification is concerned. It's been some good progress.
Yeah, indeed, Michelle, I can indicate to you, looking at the complexity of this accident as compared to other accidents and how badly the bodies were damaged. We think the team has done extremely very well for us, and we really appreciate all those who were involved, starting with our forensic pathologists, because they had to be able to work with South African Police Services in terms of extracting the tissues for DNA samplings and sending them. And what is impressive is when you look at the specimens that were sent there, that almost 99% of them were able to be they could be picked up by the machine. They could be able, because most of the time what delays this is that you will find that you have dissected and taken out the samples. When they get there, they are not able to pick up any DNA. You have to redo it again. So also coming with the police, the work that they've done at the forensic DNA laboratory, we really appreciate General Mlaudzi and his team, the work that they've done, and also our counterparts in Botswana who were able to visit their families so that for cross-matching, they've been able to also came up with those tissue samples. And I think it was an effort, as we are saying. We put up the multidisciplinary team as directed by the Office of the President and also the provincial government to say we need to make sure that the people of Botswana find closure, and the only way they can do that is if we can identify positively so the remains. So we are now at 42 as of yesterday, and we believe that the remaining ones, the teams will be able to continue and wrap up.
Certainly, that was my next question to you, MEC. It's 42, as we know, 45 people lost their lives in that horror crash. Is there a time frame that's been given to you about when we can say all 45 people who lost their lives have been identified?
We have not been given any time frame, mainly because, as I've said, the complexity of this. Look, let me give you an example just to illustrate how difficult. Sometimes I'll be graphical, and I ask apology to your viewers if they feel some of these words that I'll be using because it's a really sensitive issue. When we did our radiology studies, for example, we did around 188 studies. When we collected the samples for DNA, we collected 72, because these are body parts that were been scattered. These are bones that were loose. They are not attached to any. And I'm saying it's quite sensitive. So when you do that, it means you must do DNA sample of each to check if it's indeed a human DNA that you can be able to, unique DNA that you can be able to identify there. And after doing that, then you start to compare to say the bone A and bone B are matching for an individual. Then once they are matching for individual, you put them aside. then you then match with the families, the cross-matching ones. Then that's when you would say, yes, indeed, these are the human remains for so and so, after having done that work. So you could see that this is not just a straightforward issue. It's a one of a more complicated matter that they had to go through. So we don't have the exact time, and I don't want to put anyone under pressure. But up to so far, I want to believe that South Africans would now understand that we have got the team that is very capable. Our laboratory in the forensic South African, it is the best that you can ever find anywhere. If you don't want to appreciate those of us who work with these things on a daily basis, we can tell you that you can never have the best turnaround time like you had just got, especially given the situation that we are dealing with currently.
Yeah, certainly. And thank you, Dr. Ramathuba, for that warning to our viewers of the graphic nature of your description there. We're now talking repatriation, right? We're going to get to the stage now very, very soon of repatriating the remains of the people who lost their lives to Botswana. Does South Africa, does the state bear the cost of that exercise?
I think what we also need to indicate is that the Botswana government, the fact that their president was personally here, it shows how the two governments are committed towards working together in making sure that we find closure, especially for the families. What we can indicate to you to say, since the time when I was given a task to really work with everybody involved, we put up a team. Not only does it have South Africans, Department of Health, Home Affairs, South African Police Service, Victim Identification Unit, DNA, and all investigating officer, Transport Department. We also have got the representative of the Botswana government that sits in our meeting, and we had a meeting yesterday to discuss some of these issues. We'll also have another meeting on Monday. Well, maybe I should also indicate to the viewers that on Monday we're expecting the team from SAPS in Pretoria Forensic Unit to be joining our forensic wing. We will be starting to be the process of really packaging so that remains of each individuals are packaged well in the same body bag. So for the purposes of proper burial, that each and every family must be able to be reassured that they will bury the remains of their loved ones. Yeah. Now, in terms of the who bear the cost, what I can indicate is that the Botswana government is hands-on this matter. They are also working with us. Ours, you remember, we also have our road extent fund. We are also working with them, but I can indicate to you that the Botswana government will also be taking the lead in terms of this repatriation. We have done what we are supposed to do, but we will continue to support them up until such time when I see the remains having crossed the border and the families would have received the remains of their loved ones.
Dr. Phophi Ramathuba, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. Limpopo's Health MEC giving us an update there after the health department in the province confirmed that the remains of 42 people who died in that horror crash in Limpopo last month